what was the inspiration for the sword?
Are you talking about the black lightsaber?
Darksaber.
Yeah.
Oh,
The Darksaber? The one Pre Vizla
yeah.
uses? Yeah, that sword used to be a vibroblade. That's kind of where it gets its initial shape. The Mandalorians were going to be able to carry vibroblades, but again, originally there was not this big sword fight between Pre Vizla and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I told Kyle, who was directing it, my friend Kyle Dunlap, I said, we got to have a sword fight of some kind in here. We haven't had a lightsaber fight in a while, and Pre Vizla's, he's got to be a heavy hitter. So we gave him a vibroblade, and we staged this whole fight. And as it turned out, once we got that through and rendered, and George watched it again, he decided that vibroblades can't parry a lightsaber, that the lightsaber would just cut it in half. And he thought it would take away from the uniqueness of the lightsaber if another sword could stop it. So it was one of those times when I can really demonstrate how George, a very small-scale thing like a sword, really discussed it with me at length. And he said, it's got to be a lightsaber, but let's keep the shape of it so it's more like a sword. And he said we could have a black blade with a white edge, and it'll be an older type of lightsaber. And another unique thing about the Darksaber that I don't think it's obvious to people when they first look at it, but it's actually thinner than it is wide like an actual sword. Lightsabers are always portrayed as being round when you look at them from the top, but the Darksaber is not. It's it's got an edge to it. And so Dave Acord and I talked about having it make a different sound. So it kind of sings and cuts through the air differently. And when it hits things, it almost hits more like a tuning fork. So that's some info on it. But yeah.
Dave, I do like those Darksabers a lot. I think they're awesome. But correct me if I'm wrong. In Revenge of the Sith, the staff that Grievous's bodyguard droids used, weren't those also able to repel lightsaber strikes?
We talked about that. They have an energy emission around them, like electricity. And I think it has to do mainly for George with those are staves. They're something different. They're not a sword. And if you had two swords that could almost do the same thing, there wouldn't be as much point to it. But yeah, I mean, I brought that up. So, and there's the Darksaber.
I'm sure you did.
So there you go.
Did you pitch him on maybe having like an energy field around the vibroblade?
Yeah, but I mean, once you get to that point, you're just kind of making a lightsaber again.
Okay. I follow,
the Jedi.
I follow that.
You see what I mean? It's kind of like it's just a path that goes back to the lightsaber, because then because then suddenly the lightsaber is not unique, okay? And then everybody can have this weapon that can block what a Jedi does. Then the Jedi aren't going to be as effective. It's kind of like a big trump when they pull the lightsaber out and say, okay, we're going to go to town. I mean, and the staff, as used by those Magna Guards, isn't, they certainly don't use it effectively. Hey, this is Dave Filoni of Star Wars The Clone Wars, and you are listening to Rebel Force Radio with Jason and Jimmy.